Howdy, howdy, howdy. I wanted to make some videos, so I'm going to record, I think, 3 videos right now and then edit them and get them out to you guys. So, yeah. Anyway, I started writing this right after I finished season 2 of Hazbin Hotel. I loved season 1, and I really liked season 2. But there's one thing I'm left feeling, and that is I have no idea how I'm supposed to feel about Vox. There's not going to be much of an intro, so let's talk about why Vox is good and why he's kind of bad as a villain. I had pretty low expectations going into season 2 of Hazbin Hotel. The most compelling villain of the Hazbin Hotel series was the plot holes in season 1, or I guess the caste system if we're grouping Helluva Boss in with Hazbin Hotel. Don't get me wrong, Adam is a fun villain, but his final moments kind of ruined him for me. So let's talk about what works with Vox and what doesn't. Starting off, on the works side, we got voice, design, and personality. Sometimes. I'm going to touch more on that later. Anyway, let's start with voice. I am literally listening to the soundtrack of Hazbin Hotel as I write the script. Not as I record, because that would be really hard. Season 2 keeps up the trend set by Adam, where the villain songs are the best. As God intended. Anyway, Vox's voice is one of the best I've heard since probably Bellows, so really high praise. All of Vox's songs actively detract from the rest of the soundtrack because they are so good that it makes the rest of the soundtrack look not so good in comparison. And if you've seen any of my videos, you know that music and sound design are big parts of how I view a villain. So that's one plus in favor of Vox. His voice actor does an impeccable job and has a great singing voice as well, which is very rare for something like this. The next plus is his design. If you have seen literally any of my videos, you would know that design is a massive part of how much I like a character. And I gotta say, I like Vox's design. Or maybe my standards have dramatically lowered after the Stupa Goomba looking villain of K-pop Demon Hunters that started out really cool and then looked really dumb at the end. And the dumbass that was Muzan Kabutsuji. But I do like Vox's design. It's simple, but effective. His top hat is a very nice touch, and the fact that it has little antennae that come off of it is quite nice. Furthermore, he has a cool Doc Ock vibe when all of his cables propel him upwards. Also, TV Seraph Vox during Vox Day is actually the best design in the show. Besides Loot. Anyway, Vox has a good design, and while the Spider Vox isn't great, it's not JJK levels of bad. The final thing I love about Vox is his personality. They didn't need to give him a good personality, but they did. Vox is pretty much an insecurity complex with legs. Just like every real walking TV you meet in real life, so it's very, very realistic. That joke was so stupid. This is why I don't go off script. Anyway, the fact that he has an insecurity complex does 2 things. It builds a fleshed out character with a level of complexity with very little effort, and it makes his eventual descent into mania, not that he wasn't already, more nutty than a peanut factory, all the more believable. Furthermore, he's just fun. His need to be the center of attention is hilarious, and he's so nonchalant in his cruelty that he just gets some really good laughs out of me. 2 highlights being when he just obliterates some random dude in his fight with Alistair when he teleports in, and I probably can't show that. And when he's just talking about his favorite moments with Charlie, and they're all just him being an absolute monster. I love this man. But what really stands out for me is his obsession in being better than Alistair. The tear that slides down his screen at the very end shows that I think he hates that he has put all of his worth in what Alistair thinks. So he has a fun and fleshed out personality, good design, and great voice. So what's not to love? Well, remember when I was talking about songs and said his was one of the best? In my opinion, Brighter, his big villain song at the very end, was the best in the entire series. Yeah, it is the best in the entire series. It does have one downside, though. It throws all of Vox's actions out of whack with its personality. In Brighter, we see that Vox is a ruthless killer that does whatever it takes to reach the top. But that just isn't the vibe we get from Vox when he's in hell. The earliest moment we get to see Vox is him in the bar with Alistair. For some reason, his personality has entirely changed from the ruthless businessman that we see in Brighter to a nerdy dude. He's even wearing a vest, which I gotta say, mighty nerdy. Also, for some reason, he's an older model of a television. I don't know why that is. Like, does that imply that he gets system upgrades? That's another piece going into the Hazbin Hotel plot hole pile. It's quite a big pile at this point. His personality might be a continuity error, or it might be genius character writing. So, if it's not a continuity error, because his personality is entirely different, then what is it? Well, the only other option is that Vox has the hots for Alistair. But there are a few problems with this. But it does also explain a lot. If Vox is just crushing on Alistair, that would explain his shift in personality. Kind of. The brief moment where we see Vox in Brighter, we get no indication of Vox being the hopeless romantic that he would need to be in order to get this drastic of a shift. But if he was him liking Alistair, then it explains his inferiority complex and an obsession with Alistair, why he always feels the need to be better than Alistair, because if his unrequited love was then ruined by Alistair, it would make sense that he'd want to prove to Alistair that he is something. So that would make sense. And I really like that interpretation better than Vox just being another plot hole in the show. So, was it potentially good character writing? Yes, it was. But the fact that I only fully came to this conclusion on my third rewatch probably means he could have been written in a more concise manner. Vox is a good character with good depth, but you kind of need to dig to find it. So I can't say with certainty that he's a great villain. He's a good villain, and he works well in the confines of Season 2, which was great. Go watch it if you haven't. I'd recommend it. Some great songs, some great moments. But Vox will never be among the great animated villains for me. Especially not after I've been watching Kipo and really enjoyed Scar Lemaine. I'll probably make a video on him soon. I haven't written up the script for that one. Anyway, I appreciate you guys, as always, for coming and tuning in. It means a lot to me. So thank you guys so much. Peace.